5 tons of explosives deep under the water. Makes quite a mess on the surface. Is there any fallout? The story tonight, live at 5.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes, this is the ATV Evening News, live at 5.
It's Monday, November 21st. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Paul Meunier, and welcome to the Monday edition of Live at 5. Right now, here's a look at some of the stories our reporters are working on for tonight's program.
I'm Heather Proudfoot. This year's Christmas shopping season, will it be boom or bust? We'll talk to those in the know later in the show.
2665.
I'm Randy McDonald in Sydney. Shopping from home or even shopping in your own home. You don't have to hit the malls to do your Christmas shopping. The story coming up on Live at 5.
I'm Mike Cameron. Christmas shopping goes 7 days a week in New Brunswick, and again this year, it has mixed reviews. We'll talk about that later in Live at 5.
A movie set in production won't be very
And later, behind the scenes in Hollywood, Nancy takes us out to California for a close-up look at movie magic.
And also ahead, Paul will take us on a wild and wacky tour through the world of sports. Stay tuned for the plays of the weekend.
Create a job seekers allowance.
And from the file marked strange but true, among the winners in the first ever British lottery, Queen Elizabeth. Find out how much she won later.
Go figure. All this and much more ahead on the Monday edition of Live at 5. Right now, here's Steve Murphy working on the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon, everyone. The verdict is in. Kevin Winder is guilty of first-degree murder. A jury in Halifax needed only a few hours of deliberation before finding him guilty of first-degree murder. Winder has been convicted in the shooting death of 17-year-old Kelly Lynn Wilniff in February of last year. More on today's decision and the sentence at 6 o'clock. Also on the evening news tonight, do the police really know how to handle domestic disputes? Questions continue to surround what appears to be a murder-suicide in Abercrombie, Nova Scotia. 2 people were found shot to death just a few hours after the police visited the home on a domestic dispute call. Also tonight, did the lifeguards do all they could to save an 8-year-old who drowned at Parley Beach in Shediac last July? A coroner's inquest begins today with the lifeguards insisting they followed proper procedure. The victim's parents say they are not buying it. A full report coming up on your ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock. Right now, a quick look at the maritime weather forecast. Over to Steve Weigel in the ATV Weather Center. Cooler out there, Steve.
Yes, it is. Looks like temperatures will warm up overnight, though, Steve, in advance of a warm front pushing through the Maritimes. We'll see increasing cloud later tonight and then rain before dawn. The rain tapers off tomorrow morning and some sunny breaks by the afternoon. I'll give you all the details later in the show. Steve.
All right, the Weigel weather for you at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, all the day's top stories coming your way, along with a story about vegetables. You know, there's been a lot of bad weather down in southern parts of the United States, prompting us to investigate, will there be a price impact at maritime supermarkets? How much more will you pay, if you'll pay any more at all? We'll find out tonight on your ATV Evening News at 6, right after Live at 5, which continues now with Paul and Nancy. Here they are.
Thank you, Steve.
And it's Christmas, both financial and festive, first of 5 tonight. We're going to find out, well, I guess you could say who's been naughty and who's been nice.
That's right. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Sorry, and we are jolly first of 5 tonight. Could turn out to be the season to be tickled pink if you're in the retail business. But will 7 days a week lead some weary Maritimers to shop till they drop? We'll ask that question later.
Yeah, for some maritime merchants, the Christmas season is now in full swing, and some say they're encouraged by the early numbers ringing in at the cash registers. Heather Proudfoot's been out doing some shop hopping, I guess you could say. Heather, how does it look out there?
Well, some merchants, Paul, are saying so far so good, and if the crowded parking lots at many of our malls this past weekend are any indication, some retailers may be ringing in the new year with smiles on their faces. Hi. Hi. Have you just done all your Christmas shopping? Just part of it. Just part of it? Yeah. There are signs heralding
for all your holiday needs. In the heart of downtown Fredericton, King's Place Shopping Center has everything you need this Christmas. Experience the warm Christmas spirit that is yours at King's Place. Style, selection, convenience, you'll find it all. From that unique gift item to that something special for someone special. Maybe even a little something for yourself. Enjoy the true Christmas hospitality of King's Place Shopping Center, your Christmas center downtown.
That's a look at downtown Halifax, the Pedway connecting the old with the new, I think, down at Historic Properties.
Mm-hmm.
And
I guess you're right. Yeah.
I hope. It's kind of dark. I could be wrong. Welcome back to Live at 5, everybody, on a beautiful maritime evening. And
a little chillier.
A little bit chillier than the weekend.
There.
A little surprised on Saturday to see the thermometer, at least where I was, at about 17 degrees.
Well, we've been so spoiled, you know. I mean, with temperatures like we had last week, it's hard to get used to the idea of fall now.
Steve Weagle's got the very latest for us, and Steve, I guess Old Man Winter has been looking in our direction.
That's right. Well, we won't see him tomorrow, but we will see him by the end of the week with much cooler temperatures, some snow flurries in the forecast. For tomorrow, though, much, much warmer. In fact, we're going to see a repeat of Saturday. We'll see some rain in the morning and then some sunny breaks by the afternoon and temperatures up in the mid-teens. And there's the reason why. We've got a warm air mass just back to our west right now, starting to push into the Maritimes. Temperatures have dropped in the last few hours. They will warm up significantly in the next few. By dawn, we should see temperatures about 9 and 10 degrees. And much cooler air back to the west, in fact, through the prairies back to BC. And for tomorrow, there's not much of a change. In fact, we'll see the warmest temperatures in the Maritimes, up to 12 degrees, 13 degrees in many areas. Warm through southern Ontario. Well, once you get back to southern Ontario, the temperatures start to cool down. And the other warm spot is out in BC, where there is a system pushing in for tomorrow. Very cool up north, minus 15s up in the Northwest Territories and the Yukon for tomorrow. Here's a close-up of North America, and you can see most of the active weather is now in our side of the country. We've got a huge low-pressure system pushing from northwestern Ontario back up through Hudson and James Bay, down through the northeast of the U.S., and in fact trails right down through Florida. There's showers across much of this system. In fact, there's a cold front embedded right down through the cloud mass and some snow back through the Great Lakes right now. And this is the weather that we're expecting later in the week. In fact, we should see some snow flurries for later Thursday and Friday across the Maritimes. Here's a close-up of the Maritimes, and you really can't make out much, although I think that's Cape Breton Island peeking through the cloud right now. This is all pushing up to the northeast. We see some clearing in behind that back to our south, and that'll be our weather for later in the day tomorrow. But we've got a lot of rain embedded in this system, and it will slide through in the next 24 hours. In fact, here's what's happened in the last 24 hours. We had generally clear skies yesterday, increasing cloud during the day today, and most of the system is just back to our west and continues to our west, and will slide through quickly, in fact, very quickly tomorrow. We'll see rain in the morning, and then sunny breaks in the afternoon. Looks like a great day, in fact, for the afternoon. We've got the low pushing through. The cold front will slide through. Very warm temperatures ahead of this cold front, but very chilly back to the west. Sunny breaks in the afternoon. High will almost make it into the Maritimes, but it looks like this low-pressure system back to the north up in Labrador will stall. We'll get a cold breeze in behind that and cooler temperatures for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Here's the temperatures overnight. We'll see a low from 0 to 3 degrees, but as I mentioned, those temperatures will rise overnight up to 9 and 10 as the southerly breeze picks up, gusts up to 60 kilometers an hour from the south, and that means some fog in the forecast along the Bay of Fundy and also along the Atlantic coast. Looking at rain before dawn, and that rain will continue tomorrow morning. So if you're headed outside tomorrow in the morning, you'll want to bring your umbrella with you. The rain tapers off. We'll see the rain taper off about noon in New Brunswick, and then later in the day for Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. And look at the temperatures. 10 to 14 in New Brunswick, with the warmest areas being in Moncton and Fredericton. We're looking at 12 for Prince Edward Island, 12s, 13s, and 14s across Nova Scotia. So really, we're back to Saturday's weather again, with rain in the morning, very mild temperatures, and then sunny breaks in the afternoon. And remember, Saturday was a beautiful day. We'll see the winds turn from the south earlier in the day, and they'll move around to the west later in the day and taper off just a bit. So a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday in store. But that changes drastically on Wednesday. We've got a chance of a flurry, a mix of sun and cloud, rather unsettled weather, down to a cool 0. And the freezing mark temperatures continue on Thursday, much the same in the weather. And we'll see a few showers on Friday as the temperatures warm up just a bit, only to 3 degrees. So rather cool the next few days across the region. Paul and Nance?
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks a lot, Steve. We're going to heat things up now with a trip to California. You know, years ago, to get behind the scenes in Hollywood, you had to know somebody who knew somebody who was somebody.
Or knew somebody else, yeah, right. Yeah.
But not anymore.
That's right, because Universal Studios, Hollywood, I guess the biggest and busiest motion picture and TV production studio in the world, and they play host now to as many as 35,000 people a day. The people come from all over the world to see what goes on behind the scenes, and they're obviously intrigued by the magic of the whole world of movies as well.
That's right, and tonight, Live at 5 takes you behind the scenes for a close-up look at some movie magic.
visitor comes to Universal Studios Hollywood, this will be their first view of the actual studio. We have all of our sound stages, about 35 sound stages, each one numbered. And in the back area over here is where we would have the backlot. This is the largest, busiest motion picture and television studio in the world.
The Universal Motion Picture Manufacturing Company began making movies nearly 80 years ago. The studio prospered through the golden years of television with programs like The Jack Benny Show.
Who is this, anyway?
The Abbott and Costello Show.
I gotta go home. I forgot something. What did you forget? I forgot to show you there.
And Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Good evening.
Hitchcock also left his mark on the studio with one of the most recognizable movie sets in Hollywood history.
It's broken.
That's just one of many fascinating sights you'll see here behind the scenes. Isn't that cool?
These sets are still very popular because we could use them as a courthouse, a post office, a federal building, any sort of official-looking structure. This one here has been used as an embassy in so many products.
So if you watch really closely in various movies,
You'll see the same thing over and over and over again.
A lot of the attractions here at Universal directly involve you in a movie scene. For instance, this is the original DeLorean from Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. Are you ready for a little time travel? Hold on for the ride of your life. This ride puts you in the driver's seat in a hair-raising ride through time. It's pretty convincing, and like the films it imitates, the technology behind it is amazing. Using special effects, a 3D film projected onto an 80-foot dome screen, and a computer-controlled DeLorean. Well, if that didn't shake you up, this should. The hit movie Earthquake shook audiences all over the world with special effects like you're about to see. It looks very authentically like a subway station.
And this is weird because we have all four corners dressed. Whoa, hang on. Look out! Whoa! Hang on.
Of course, all these effects are once again controlled by computer, making sure the experience is exciting and safe. That was my first ever earthquake.
Oh, well, good. Hopefully this will be your only earthquake while you're here.
We'll check out some more special effects in a moment. First, a quick lesson on the importance of sound. He just isn't as scary without the sound, is he? Give us a good growl, would you?
Okay, he's gonna, let's see.
Most sound is added after a film is shot, using instruments like these on a soundstage.
The videotape we use for like walking through leaves and stuff. And this other stuff, we have parquet flooring, linoleum, concrete for sidewalks. That's for like walking on a gravel driveway or something.
Yeah.
We have like a doorknob sound. You know, I'm trying to get in, let me in.
Into a lock.
And we have locks, you know, for all those little sounds. You never think that all the stuff is added in later, but it sure does, because we concentrate on the dialogue when we shoot a movie. You're thinking, what the heck is that? But it's actually for the sound of rain against a window. Listen.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that weird? Like this one is used in old radio shows for the sound of wind going through trees.
That's lime.
That's the footsteps in the mud sound, and we get this really great green oozy stuff that we use.
Action! Now for one last look at movie magic. The film Backdraft gave terrifying personality to what firefighters call the Beast.
Excellent.
The folks at Universal decided to create a permanent home for the Beast. First, pyrotechnicians ran some tests using Universal's burning house. The Inferno was then moved inside a massive soundstage, but the real challenge was to make it safe.
We try to get right on that edge where people really feel like they're in peril when they're in the attraction, but at the same time they're laughing because they know they're perfectly safe.
In keeping with the theme of movie magic, after burning down the house, these complex effects must reset themselves automatically. I was locked up.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it was fun. I must say, it was an interesting experience.
Now, the people that you had featured in as people who are watching seem to be having the time of their lives. Now, how much did they pay to get in to see this show?
Oh, well, it's not cheap to get onto the property, and once you're on the property, you get to see everything, basically.
Sure.
You know, you have free reign. It's $31, and that's US dollars.
Wow.
So that's
how long
somewhere
is the tour?
45 for us. The tour
That's
is,
right,
well,
45
you can just wander around all day.
So you're on your own,
basically
right?
It's a day pass,
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's not too bad, I
Yeah.
guess. And certainly if you like that kind of
It's expensive
thing.
for a family, though, and I guess the good thing is that it was free tonight on Live at 5.
Yeah,
Right?
we saw some really neat stuff there.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I mean, we had all kinds of great stuff from you over the last few weeks from Hollywood. That was quite a trip you had. You
Well, we did a
managed
lot
to
when we
pack
were
a
there.
lot in what, 5 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I learned a lot, too. You know, I hope that you've seen it, too. When you sit back and watch a movie or watch a TV show, you think, oh, yeah, it just happens. But, boy, when you see behind the scenes, you realize how much work goes into making or creating that final product. And it's been fun taking a look behind the scenes.
Yeah, in fact, you know, it's the Canadian woman, Genevieve Bujold, who was supposed to play the captain on the new Star Trek series, which we have
Voyager,
coming up here on
right.
ATV in January, quit for that very reason. She said the production schedule is just too hectic.
Pretty hairy.
She'd been
yeah.
involved in some, you know, stage work, and which is fairly demanding in itself, but
very different.
The whole idea of TV series work, just she couldn't handle it. 14, 15, 19-hour days in some cases.
But it's fun to watch.
That's right. It's great to sit at home and watch. Yahoo.
All right. The plays of the week are still ahead, and so is ATV on your side.
That's right. Yvonne Colbert dips into the old mailbag when Live at 5 returns this Monday afternoon. Please stay with us.
You want to save money this Christmas. Now you're ready to express your innermost shopping self. Let's try some group therapy at Multitech. Ooh, big group. Let's start with the lowest price in Canada on the Sanyo AM/FM cassette portable stereo with CD, $99. The RCA 26-inch stereo monitor with picture-in-picture, $548. And get the lowest price in Canada on the Magnavox 4-head hi-fi stereo VCR with remote, $288. Plus, Multitech gives you no interest financing on everything in the store. Oh, come on, what do you say, group hug?
From the Betty Rubin Christmas collection of leather, a new different look in leather, and it's on sale. Save hundreds of dollars on the finest lambskin leather, featuring attention to detail. The quality is excellent, with prices starting as low as $149. Lay away till Christmas, or open a Betty Rubin charge account. Christmas is for giving. Give a Betty Rubin gift of leather and save hundreds of dollars. These outstanding Betty Rubin jackets are unique in style, and they're all on sale at Betty Rubin Champlain Place in Moncton.
If you buy a 95 Ford F-150 4x4 for $16,295, it's a good value. If you buy a 95 Ford F-150 4x4 from Fox Ford with mag wheels, 235 tires, handling package, interior enhancement group, AM/FM stereo cassette, and the Fox Ford family commitment that you will be satisfied, it's a terrific deal. Call 328-8828 or stop by Fox Ford on Connell Road in Woodstock and choose from over 125 F-Series trucks.
Serving Eastern Canada since 1977 for all your computer needs.
Experience the world of ICS.
And welcome back to Live at 5. Looks like a peaceful area to be in right now. That's Halifax Law Course from our live eye. Certainly a lot of activity in there earlier in the day today. And right now, time to check in with Steve Murphy, who's preparing the ATV Evening News at 6. And Steve, what was happening down there?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Coming up here at 6 o'clock tonight, the verdict is in, and it is guilty from the law courts. A live report tonight from ATV's Jonathan Kay. Kevin Winder going to jail for life for the murder of 17-year-old Kelly Lynn Wilnett. It didn't take the jury long to come up with the verdict. You'll have all the details tonight at 6 o'clock. Also on your evening news, those who receive welfare in one maritime province can expect to have to do more to help themselves find a job. Welfare recipients can expect to get a little push to go to job interviews in the 10 classes. Those who don't like it could see their benefits cut. The story's here at 6 o'clock tonight. And also, most of us have heard it used as an excuse before, and lawyers have used the term too drunk to successfully defend several cases lately. It may be legal, but tonight we ask, is it right? Is being too drunk really a valid excuse for committing a crime? That story and much more coming up tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6, right after Live at 5, which continues now on your side.
Thank you, Steve. And it's Monday, so we're going to dip into the ATV on your side mailbag.
We are so Nancy, and our first letter tonight comes from Quispamsis, New Brunswick, and it reads, Dear Yvonne, I am a student at the University of New Brunswick Fredericton campus doing student teaching in Quispamsis. This year, UNB implemented a health plan for students. It required us to pay a $100 fee along with our tuition, whether we were already covered by another health plan or not. In October, another student mentioned the deadline for the refund for that health plan was the end of September. I received no notice from the university, and neither the Student Union at UNB or the Canadian Federation of Students Union has been able to help. I hope you can. And that letter comes from Jocelyn Tong.
Frustrating problem, and as we all know, $100 is a lot of money for anybody, but particularly for a student.
And that's one of the points that she made in her letter, and she had been calling Ontario, and she said, please help because my phone bill's getting larger and I'm not getting anywhere. Anyway, it was really quite simple. I called the Students Union at the University of New Brunswick, and I guess what you have to understand if you don't get the geography of all this is that while she is registered at the Fredericton campus, she's actually teaching in Quispamsis, which is closer to St. John, so this is like an hour and a half's difference.
Oh, right.
So she never gets to the campus. In any event, I spoke to a student union vice president there, and he acknowledged that when it came to the student teachers, which Jocelyn is, there was an error in notifying them. Notices were put up on the campus, but since they're not on the campus, they wouldn't see the notices. So he had me give her his number. She called him, and now they are hopefully in the process of straightening all of this out, and she will hopefully receive her $100 in the near future.
Terrific.
As for others in the same boat, he says they're taking them on a case-by-case basis. The gentleman's name is Chris Alward. He's a Students' Union Vice President at UNB, so you can give him a call if you have a similar problem.
All right, great. And we have another letter.
We do so. This one comes from Brador, Nova Scotia, and it reads, Dear Yvonne, on a trip to Halifax from Cape Breton last February, we ran into trouble with our Mazda truck. We took it to a nearby dealership. They fixed the part and charged us $140 for repairs. When we got home, we discovered the part was covered by warranty, so our local dealership installed the new part free of charge. I've tried to get my $140 back, but have heard no response from the Atlantic rep or from Mazda Canada. Can you help? And that letter came from Lawrence McDonald.
So, the answer is...
Boy, this was easy.
Oh, really? You love those ones, don't you?
And I'm going to choke. Lawrence does most of his dealings with Island Mazda in Sydney, so I called the parts manager there, who'd been very good to him as he was trying to get all this resolved, a man by the name of Roy, and Roy said, I'll look after it. He did. He called me back immediately, said it was a glitch in the system, and all Lawrence had to do was bring in his receipt from getting the work done, and they would reimburse him. I checked this afternoon. Sure enough, they have. So that's the end of that story.
All right, terrific. Now, yes, I was going to say, you take a moment and cough, and I want to tell you, we have one more thing to tell you about tonight, and it has to do with wedding rings.
It does. And I happened to be in Zellers on the weekend, and a lady who works in the store came up to me. The Zellers in Bedford, what happened was last January, they found a set of wedding rings there. They turned them over to the police. They don't know who they belong to. Now, there are a couple of things that are unique about these rings. So if they are your rings, you're welcome to call me here. You'll get the number in a sec. Or you can call the Zellers in Bedford, ask for Linda Oakley, because they have your rings.
All right, you need a glass of water. ATV's Yvonne Colbert is on your side. Thanks, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Here's Paul.
And don't go away anywhere. We're going to take a little coughing spell, and we'll be right back with something that'll make you laugh and cry maybe, too. It's the Plays of the Week. Weekend edition. Coming right up here on the Monday edition of Live at 5, so don't go away.